It has been 3 months since I made my last video. And I know it may not seem like it, but I really take being consistent to my crafts so seriously in my life. So I missed like 3 holiday uploads, and even Corey came back and released a manga before I could even write my next video. But I know consistency starts with me. So first off, Happy New Year's, and I hope you have the greatest 2025 with many blessings coming your way. And as for this channel and all my other endeavors, I can just promise I'll try more than I ever did before. To aim for the stars and hopefully land somewhere on the moon. Let's start 2025 strong together. As you see in the title, this will be a current video highlighting some really cool and interesting movies that I've seen and that were released in 2024. It was a very interesting year for film, and I walked away from many of these projects really moved. And I just want to break down some of the emotions I felt as I experienced each movie here. This is Duck Breaks, and let's play the intro. I'm pretty sure DUNE is one of the earliest films that I've seen in 2024, and I still remembered like the epicness of that first watch. I watched this film twice. The second time I watched it with a parlay I had bet on for Luka Doncic, and it hit during the movie, and trust me, I think that made this movie one of my favorites for the year. I can't even lie to you. And we were giving hugs all around. It felt like I was the Lisan Al Gaib. It was crazy. Yeah, shout out Luka Doncic, you know.
Far tonight, deep 3, and it rattles home for Luka Doncic. It's a season high. I think it's got 2 of them for that thing. Luka over.
DUNE is in that really unique situation where it is looked upon as a sequel that is just as good, if not greater, than its predecessor. I loved the first DUNE, and I think the way they made the world feel so tangible was nothing less than fantastic work. To give stakes to everything that we were seeing on screen, to make the world just feel so real. Every time we see and hear that thumper, you know exactly the sort of monstrosity that is being lured to close proximity, which was this really awesome sound design. The opening sequence of this film is gorgeous, threatening, and gives the audience a sense of thrill that is imbued in this entire movie. The cinematography in this is incredible. The constant use of wide shots showcasing the grand scale of everything was always my favorite thing to see when it occurred, especially those moments in the Coliseum. Just the grand scale of everything was so dope to see. I really love the costume design in this. The outfits that Florence Pugh was wearing were so well crafted. They all just looked really beautiful in my opinion. Timothée Chalamet was amazing this entire movie. In a film which has so many stars that I look up to, he stood apart from them, which I genuinely think is insane. The change he underwent from the first film to this sequel is such a heavy change. He went from a weaker character to such a force every time he was on screen. He evolved so much so that when that final monologue he had towards the people occurred, it was such a believable and earned moment. And probably my favorite moment from the entire film, to be honest. I cannot wait to see where his character ends up during the next film, Dune Messiah. I keep hearing about how crazy the narrative gets from then on out. I'm ecstatic to see what Denis Villeneuve envisions for that final film of the trilogy, because he has been doing an incredible job thus far. I love all of his works, and this world he's been constructing has to be my favorite from him. Civil War is a film that I watched really recently, but I've been wanting to check it out since its release, and I was not disappointed. I've only seen one of Alex Garland's previous works, which was Ex Machina, which I think truthfully is like a modern masterpiece. That movie had me pondering after viewing it for such a long time. I really liked the look of Civil War. The color felt saturated almost, and each scene just showcased this world brilliantly. How evil and horrific it became. Kirsten Dunst was really good in this. I genuinely liked all of the main characters in this. It was a strong cast, and each character I felt had a motivation strong enough to make this movie worth watching. Kelly Spaney had such a great performance in this. I haven't seen much of her other work, but she stood out to me a lot in this. The use of white noise in this film was just elite. For example, like pairing that with army soldiers firing bullets or just obscene imagery just made for some really fantastic sequences. The ending for this film was just wow. I could tell it was going into that direction of just being dark and cold, but it still took me aback a lot. Also, Jesse Plemons' acting in that one scene he had was so amazing. He stole the show, and he had the highlight of the film for me, to be honest, and he was literally in the film for such a short time. So yeah, love that little cameo. Love Lies Bleeding shocked me a bit. I felt like I would enjoy it based on the trailers that I've seen, but I really liked it when I watched it. The film follows two lovers that get pulled into this crime-like world that is headed by none other than Kristen Stewart's character's father. There is a lot of substance abuse that is going on in this film coming from Katie M. O'Brien's character. Every instance she had of roid rage made for some very tense scenes, and she played it so well due to her great physical acting. Kristen Stewart and Katie M. O'Brien's dynamic made this film for me. They worked extremely well together, and the roller coaster of a relationship they had in this film made for a very engaging watch. And as for the main antagonist, the father, Ed Harris, wow, I really love him in everything I see him in. He has such a cold demeanor paired with that chillin' voice. He's such an imposing figure in this film, and it really sets the stakes for the two lovers. I watched this once I saw the director of it was Rose Glass, who made one of my favorite movies, Saint Maud, in 2019. I believe this is her second feature, which just makes me so excited to see what she makes next, since I thought Love Lies Bleeding was just another great watch.
Remember me.
Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, was nothing short of entertaining. George Miller did a fantastic job in making the sequel to Mad Max Fury Road, which of course I think is one of the greatest action films ever. His approach to making this film to actually flesh out that Furiosa character we loved in the first film, rather than just making another action intense film, is what I think works so well for me here. And yes, it is definitely more of a narrative based film, I would say, compared to Fury Road, but there are still many action sequences in this, and the one on the truck is probably one of the coolest action sequences. Anya Taylor-Joy had a lot of expectations on her performance due to how great Charlize Theron was in Fury Road, and she did nothing less than exceed all of them in my personal opinion. Her mannerisms, her voice were so similar to Charlize. It made the gap between the films just feel very cohesive. Her performance propelled this film to be what it is. Chris Hemsworth was so fun to watch in this. I love how he felt cartoonish at moments, popping in, screaming with his chariot of choppers, which just exudes rawness. The Mad Max world to me is one of my favorite worlds in fiction. I love how over the top it is, and seeing those sandy landscapes with crazy contraptions of cars in the foreground, it's just so cool to me. Unfortunately, somehow, this movie made its budget back but made no return in profit, which is crazy to me and sad, to be honest, to live in a time where we might not get another one of these films by George Miller, which is crazy again to me because I think this is one of the strongest films of the year. I saw something that George Miller wants to make another one regardless, so I hope that there is a producer out there that is willing enough to see this crazy story through. Furiosa and Fury Road are both two great movies that I feel like we should have more of in the current film landscape. To one of maybe the most moving project of the year for me. I saw the TV Glow. I saw the TV Glow as one of the most refreshing pieces of film I've seen in a while. I watched the director's first feature, Jane Schornburn's We're All Going to the World's Fair, a couple months ago before watching I Saw the TV Glow, and I remember just being moved by his creativity and the need and importance for the story that was being told. Both films feel so raw emotionally, and I even watched a couple of interviews to kind of get some of the director's insight, and I realized how personal the messages they put into this film were to them. A story in which you feel like you just don't belong in your own skin. From watching We're All Going to the World's Fairs, I Saw the TV Glow is so cool because the creativity is still there and more, but it is crafted at such a finer level of detail. The production of it all is just incredible. The one thing I just noticed and adored from this film immediately is the look. The flashy colors being in every scene, shining over our protagonist to reflect what he's going through is so visually beautiful. The close-ups of the main character, Owen, watching his favorite show, entranced by what was going on, was just so nice to see. I love the segments where it was showing the cheesy TV show. I look forward to every time one of those were on screen. I love that type of stuff. One of the coolest things about this movie to me is that Alex G scored it, and even did so for Sean Byrne's first feature. I really do enjoy Alex G's music, and the music he's crafted for this movie is so good. It's such a unique, moody sound that I think complements the movie perfectly. Justice Smith played his role so well. His character was so lost, and it felt very believable, and when you got to that final scene with him, you couldn't help but feel for his character's conflict. It was super heartbreaking. This is a slow-paced film that just put me in a trance while watching it due to how genuine everything felt. This is a real conflict that matters, and when it ended, I was distraught. The burn of the conclusion sat with me, and I think this is a film I won't forget for quite some time. I really cannot wait to see what James Sean Byrne does next. And as for the final film of this 2024 recap video, I am literally just coming back from the theater from watching Nosferatu, and this might be my favorite film to have come out in 2024. Look, Robert Eggers is one of my favorite working directors right now. I have watched all of his films, even his short films, due to how inspired all of his work feels to me. They are created with such care and detail. The Lighthouse, for example, is definitely up there with being one of my favorite films. Robert Eggers has such a unique take to his storytelling. I think there are really only a select few of other directors who are even coming close to what he's putting out right now, in my opinion. I have been waiting for Nosferatu for a while. I remember seeing the initial castings for this film and just still being excited to see what was in store for this tale, especially since it is based on such an infamous film. I really didn't care who was in this film, I'm not gonna lie to you. Nosferatu is intense, gritty, atmospheric, and beautiful. This film looks amazing. There is not one shot that I thought was boring or just didn't add to the tone of this world. The acting, all the performances in this were great. Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson, etc. I really like Nicholas Holt's work, and he did so well I felt so bad for his character. Lily Rose Depp was super good. Her physical acting was incredible. I don't think I've seen her in anything else, to be honest, unfortunately, but I'm really happy this is my introduction to her. I can't wait to see what she does next. She really blew me away. Okay, but the performance of a lifetime, I think, was Bill Skarsgård. He was unrecognizable. His performance was one of the most compelling performances of the year for me. He was lost behind that character of Count Orlok. It truly felt as if there was no remnant of him there. He was such a force to be reckoned with. The gravity he had in each scene was incredible. I was always terrified of what gruesome act he would perform next. There was never a single moment where I wasn't on the edge of my seat while watching him. He wasn't just wearing prosthetics, and that made the performance, his physicality, his walk, his talk, everything he did was just so great. Like, I really loved it. The cinematography in this was astounding. The camera was just always moving. The whole film was so smooth production wise is the best way I can describe it. I loved all the sequences that were at the castle, especially. Everything felt so tense. And no spoilers, but when a certain figure was revealed, man, it's just so cool. Just so cool the way it was done. The sets and locations that were being filmed that were just gorgeous. It definitely propelled the tone and atmosphere of this film. When I walked out of the theater, I just felt amazed at what I've seen. It was tragic, poetic, and just so well done. I'll definitely be checking this one out again. Even watching to see that opening scene will be worth it, I swear. It was such a gripping watch that never got dull, and this is definitely one of Eggers' best in my opinion, and I highly recommend it. this has been my favorites of 2024 recap video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I promise it will not take me this long to make another video. But if it does, I swear I was working on something important. Like, I was working on something important. Just a quick thank you to all my friends and new people who watch these. I really feel good whenever I hear feedback, so thank you guys again, genuinely. I hope to keep making interesting videos that you all find entertaining. I love making these types of videos. It makes me so happy to see people enjoy these. It really means something to me, so just thank you again. So in 2025, what's new for Duck Breaks? Well, right now I'm working on a new series, hopefully featuring some people that I think will make for a very interesting and entertaining watch. So hopefully by the next video you guys get to see all that and what I mean. So yeah, this has been Duck Breaks. I wish you all many blessings in the new year, and I will see you in the next video.